The road is long, with many a winding turn that leads us to who knows where, who knows when. But we're strong, strong enough to carry it.
He ain't heavy, he's our brother.
So on we go, his welfare is of our concern. No burden is he to bear, we'll get there, for we know he would not encumber us.
He ain't heavy, he's our brother.
If we're laden at all, we're laden with sadness, that everyone's heart isn't filled with the gladness of love for one another. It's a long, long road, from which there is no return. While we're on the way to there, why not share? And the load doesn't weigh us down at all. He ain't heavy, he's our brother. Better stick with our days.
Yeah.
To our brother John, who has been known as JK his entire life, was a man of countless unbelievable stories, a man with brilliant mind filled with never-ending facts, life experiences, and life's lessons. Quite simply, he was a sponge of information. He recalled uncanny things, funny things about this, odd things about that, and fascinating recollections of other particular trivia. JK remained a student for life, and the learning to learn never stopped.
As we turn the pages of JK's life, we see our larger-than-life brother, the Sarge, continuously testing boundaries, exploring limits, and always taking control of the situation. Any mischief JK would get into with his younger brothers, he was sure to take the blame. JK and our brother Billy, BK, were basically always together and were deemed double trouble. As we continue to turn the pages in JK's life, we see in his younger years he shared birthday parties in our home in Broadview with our sister, who was also born in the month of August. One particular pool party involved borrowed plastic pools from neighbors. After swimming, Mom dressed JK in a charming three-piece navy blue short suit our grandma bought him. JK despised the outfit and, being Mr. Stubborn, refused to come out for the remainder of the party for cake, ice cream, and presents.
JK knew our mom loved things that sparkled. At the ripe age of 9, he bought a pair of fire ice pierced earrings for Mom for Christmas at the nearby 5 and 10 cent store. Little did he know, Mom didn't even get her ears pierced until almost 40 years later. Mom still has the earrings to this day in the original package, showing the price of 25 cents plus tax. When JK was young, he raised and trained homing and tumbler pigeons in our home in Winfield. He had a special whistle to call their pigeons in to the coop. He'd race his pigeons, and then they would accompany him on his mile or so walks to and from the grade school. JK enjoyed taking his pigeons hundreds of miles away from home, only to wait for them to find their way back. We all enjoyed watching his tumbler pigeons tumble, roll over, backwards in flight. He was known as a Birdman by many of his school friends.
Another page in JK's book of life that confirmed his lack of fear and his testing of the limits was during his days of being an altar boy. His idea of ringing the church bell was to take it upon himself, with BK, to actually climb up into the church bell tower to ring the bell, then hang out and eat lunch up there the remainder of the day. They also stumbled upon underground tunnels beneath the church, which they believed were secret catacombs made of dirt floors. These adventures always ended with a chase by the janitor. Other thrills included JK climbing the Winfield water tower, being skillful with cherry bombs and firecrackers, playing hide and seek in the cemetery near our home, and keeping the Winfield police on their toes. When recently asked if and when the police would find him, he responded, "We went looking for them." While attending St. Francis High School in Wheaton, J.K. was a 4 letterman in sports, as seen by his letter sweater displayed. It was, and still is, quite an accomplishment for student athletes to letter in 4 sports. He ran cross country and track and managed the football and basketball teams. He was bonfire chairman, vice president of senior homeroom, vice president of varsity club, and vice president of student council. He was a cool dude walking down the halls of St. Francis wearing his letter sweater, displaying his personal awards he earned in athletics and other activities, such as student council, commissioner of athletics.
J.K. became a machinist for her father's business, Zeyen Tool Company in Chicago. After working 6 straight years with Dad, J.K. wanted to pursue his travel dreams. He purchased a new 1973 Pontiac Grand Prix and told our dad, "I didn't buy this car to go to work." Over the course of many years, J.K. worked on and off her dad while driving to 49 of the 50 states in the U.S., recording roughly 200,000 miles in that Grand Prix. The stories of his road trips, fishing, and camping outings along the way of these 49 states are endless. Family and friends would tag along on some of those trips. His nickname, the Sarge, was appropriate for these journeys, as J.K. loved to sit back and watch everyone else work in front of him. I was fortunate enough to tag along on many of those trips. In fact, my first trip out west was with J.K. It was in the early 80s, and we traveled through many western states, visiting with many family and friends along the way. I saw some of the most incredible sights, stunning scenery, and notable history for the first time. What a guy to have. He was truly a walking encyclopedia. He knew a little of something about everything, and everything about a lot of things, at least in his mind. At some point during the trip, I recall J.K. tightening the reins on my shutter finger with his camera as the costly rows of film were growing. I remember exploring the Carlsbad Caverns and coming out of the cave on that beautiful Easter Sunday morning. From that first road trip over 30 years ago, I fell in love with 3 things: the mountains, photography, and my brother.
As we continued to turn pages in J.K.'s book, his Grand Prix was his prized possession. In our driveway while we played basketball, he would put all the windows down in his car and crank the music to his 8-track tune of Taking Care of Business, bottom turn overdrive. He let us sit in the driver's seat. It was Mom's first favorite rock and roll song, and we would all dance to it together. J.K. was a spitting image of our dad at a young age. Even his voice sounded like Dad's, but more importantly, his signature was identical to Dad's. Our baby sister asked him to sign a note excusing her from high school on senior ditch day. It was like having a get-out-of-jail-free card. She had a blast that day attending Chicago's St. Patrick's Day parade, thanks to J.K. After many years working for our father, J.K. spent several enjoyable years as a limo driver before he retired. He enjoyed meeting people and was certainly an entertaining limo driver. He kept a meticulous journal of each of his clients, listing dates and times, and many different people he would come in contact with, along with the experiences he encountered while driving, with only one eye unknown to his passengers. These journals will be treasured for years and bring so much laughter to us all. J.K. enjoyed talking and telling stories for hours, especially about his travels, as everyone well knows. One of his favorite subjects was talking about wars, whether it was Native American wars, World Wars, Middle East, and so on. Naturally, he was for the underdog, but he loved to talk about the leaders, their characteristics, and their tactical strategies.
The The last paragraph from Chief Joseph's surrender speech at Bears Paw Battle in 1877 was cherished by J.K. And it read, "Hear me, my chiefs. I am tired, my heart is sick and sad. From where the sun now stands, I shall fight no more forever." Those final words eerily resembled these last few months' final thoughts of his own life. J.K. had said often these last few months, "I've had a good life." He certainly did. J.K. brother, it's very hard to say goodbye, so we'll just say so long. The pages of your book will never be closed, just as the pages of Dad's and Nancy's books are not closed either. J.K. brother, we will miss you, but we will always remember you with respect, admiration, and love. We are saddened by what you had experienced these last few months, but are comforted knowing you are in a better place. We thank all of you that had visited him at the hospital to share your memories. Such true acts of kindness and compassion we will never forget. J.K. brother, you live in memories and in the stories shared, not only today, but also tomorrow and in years to come.
On behalf of our entire family, we'd like to thank you all for coming today and sharing this special service with us.